Today's lab we'll be looking at establishing loads. Specifically, we'll be doing sub-max strength tests. The two tests that I've selected with my particular client is the squat, the barbell back squat, and the bench press. First and foremost, as a fitness professional, you'll be using these techniques, especially when you're working with clients and trying to figure out what their 1 rep max is. As a fitness professional, you really want to focus on working within your scope of practice. And upon graduation in the diploma program, you'll be able to conduct sub-max testing, and this would be a really good way to administer, a 5 or a 10 RM repetition maximum test with any of the core exercises that are out there. All right, so in terms of the instructions for this lab, ideally we would be working in partners, but obviously due to the pandemic, we might not be able to do that. The video that you'll see coming up, I'm actually working with my client, who's actually a kinesiologist, Emad, and we're both actually wearing masks and doing our best to physically distance. So you'll be able to see that in the video. We've selected, as I said, 2 exercises, 1 upper, 1 lower. And the first thing you want to do is conduct more of a specific warm-up for that exercise that you're about to complete the test in. In terms of instructions, the first thing that you'd like to do after completing your specific warm-up is picking a light weight that allows you to complete approximately 10 repetitions. Following that, you'll rest for a minute. And then afterwards, you're going to increase the load slightly and complete about 5 repetitions. After that, you will rest again for another minute, and then you'll increase the load, or you could repeat the previous load and perform 5 repetitions. One thing to mention that the load that you're looking for during the kind of warm-up cycle should really be no more than 60% of the load that you'll be using when you actually start the actual testing process. All right, so we're about to start the actual testing now. So you can see here the client is performing a upper body specific warm-up with some arm swings, rotator cuff exercises, face pulls. Afterwards, you can see for the lower body, the client is performing some leg swings and some banded walks, in addition to some quadruped hip rotations. And then here you can see the client is performing squats just with the bar for a warm-up set, and then gradually increasing the load. And then after breaking, the client continues to slightly increase the load. So now we're about to actually start the heavier portion, and as you can see, I'm going to be spotting this client. So depending on how heavy the load is, you want to make sure that you're in a position that you can safely and effectively spot your client. I'm actually squatting with the client, and my hands, although they look like they're on him, I'm not actually touching the client, but just there in case I need to support him throughout the actual lift. All right. Now we're going to move on to the bench press. Please remember that you want to make sure that you have safeties in, and if you're spotting, you want to be in the appropriate position for that. All right, for the purpose of the video, we do not have the safety bars on, just so you could see the actual movement pattern, but please ensure that you do use safety bars just to make sure that both you and the client are performing this test in a safe and effective manner. As you can see, over the past few clips, we've increased the load, and following that, again, the client would be resting in between sets. Now we're kind of closer to the max loads the sub-max loads that we'd be lifting to try and estimate or establish what his 1 rep max would be for the bench. So now we're getting towards the end where we believe that this is the load that the client will really be able to kind of max out at 5 reps. He's actually lifting 155 pounds here, and he's completed it 5 times for the bench. So if we were to take that particular load and we were to input that load into the formula given to you in the lab, where you're trying to estimate what his 1 rep max is. So this is an estimate. We would take that 155 pounds that he lifted, and we would use that formula and divide it by 1.0278 minus, in brackets, his reps of 5 times 0.0278, and then we would basically calculate what his estimated 1 rep max is. All right, so I will do that with you, and you can kind of see where we would go with that prediction. All right, thank you.